Attention, the following broadcast has been approved by Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, it's Courtney here from the Outcasted OC Podcast, and welcome to our YouTube channel, and welcome to our SummerSlam recap, review, whatever you want to call it. So SummerSlam was this afternoon for me. I have some thoughts, so I thought that I would share them with you. I've pulled out the nice gaming chair to relax because, to be honest, it was a very stressful pay-per-view. A lot happened, and I am going to share my thoughts with you. So firstly, I just want to start with the match card, the atmosphere, all of the above. So the match card itself, looking at it before any of the matches started, it was a stacked card. Now, I do know that there were some concerns about a few matches that were actually pulled from the SummerSlam card, so the likes of Trish and Becky, and Rhea and Raquel, and potentially a United States title match. That's just the nature of the beast, and I understand that sometimes there are matches that we really want to have, but I did end up watching the press conference, and Triple H made a really good point in saying that, you know, if you have enough matches to cover 2 days worth of WrestleMania and you want to fit it all into like a SummerSlam, sometimes there are going to be matches that do get cut from the card. It is unfortunate, but also you have to bear in mind as well too that they are planning ahead for other premium live events. So we could potentially see Trish and Becky at Payback this year, or we could see it something else down the line. It's just like Triple H just said, it's pretty much the nature of the beast. I was really upset that the match got cut because, to be honest, I felt like it really was a match that could have actually been on the SummerSlam card. I would have replaced it with another match. I'll tell you about that when I get to that point. But I just thought that was really important to include, and let's just get straight into the recap. So SummerSlam kicked off with the match between Logan Paul and Ricochet. Now, it was rumoured that this match was going to be starting off the card long before SummerSlam actually begun. This was because Logan Paul said himself that he wanted to be able to make it in time for Jake Paul's boxing match. Whether or not that has any truth to it, this was the match that started off the show. To be honest, I think this was a really good choice. It was a really fast-paced, energetic match that got the crowd alive, and Logan and Ricochet both looked really good in this match. Their wrestling styles complement each other very, very well, and I was really excited to see where it went. I was a little bit disappointed that Ricochet didn't get as much offense in as I was really hoping for, but this match was used to really highlight Logan and highlight his skills. Now, you can say whatever you want about the guy, whether he's a terrible person or you just don't like him and what he does online, but you can't deny the talent that the man has when it comes to him being in the ring. I genuinely feel like if he was actually to take wrestling seriously and do it on a full-time basis, he actually could be really good and go really far in the industry, solely based on his wrestling talents. Now, I know a lot of people will say, you know, he's very privileged by being trained by the likes of Shawn Michaels and stuff. I get that. But to be honest, I feel like he's in a position where being trained by people like that is actually not only going to help accelerate his progress, but actually is really going to help complement his in-ring style, and is actually going to give him the best opportunity in the ring to be able to keep up with the likes of a Roman Reigns, a Seth Rollins, and a Ricochet, for example. This match did go on a little bit shorter than I was expecting, but nonetheless, it was a really good match, and Logan Paul did come out with the win on this one. Next up, we had Cody Rhodes going up against Brock Lesnar. Now, this was considered a rubber match. Now, for some reason, it was speculated there was going to be a stipulation in this match, but unfortunately, the internet just misinterpreted Cody's words. Now, I've spoken with Ross, and he's clarified that Cody Rhodes basically said that a rubber match is kind of like a way of finishing the feud. It's the last match in the series. So Cody has one win, Brock has one win. This third match is kind of the deciding match, so I feel like that kind of got lost in translation. But I do think this match actually would have really benefited from having a stipulation. I enjoyed the match, don't get me wrong, but I feel like having a stipulation, whether it's like a strap match or Hell in a Cell, last man standing, I feel like that would have not only helped close the feud off in a better way, but also would have given the audience something more exciting to be engaged into. This match was very typical of a starting match of Brock Lesnar's, you know, lots of F5s, lots of suplexes, you know, taking Cody to Suplex City. It was a really good match. Brock was in charge of the match for quite some time before Cody finally was able to get one up on Brock and actually take charge in the match. At one point during the match as well too, I don't know how, but Brock Lesnar's shorts ripped, and then by the end of it, the entire front of his pants were just like completely ripped. It was a really good match. There was a tease in the match where Cody Rhodes actually did take the belt buckle cover off, and it was teased that he was going to, you know, hit Brock in the head, very similar to how they did at Backlash, but that didn't end up happening. Cody's mum was in the front row, so she played a little bit of a part in terms of showing the emotions during the match. But Cody Rhodes did end up coming away with the win, so now he has defeated the Beast, which is Brock Lesnar. There was a really nice moment that actually was not meant to happen at all. It was completely on the fly. Cody was celebrating his win in the ring, and Brock Lesnar came up to him and shook his hand as a sign of respect. I think this was a really cool way to close off the feud. Now, I kind of wish that somebody had have returned after that to make their dominance known, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what's next for Cody. Now, it's rumoured that Brock Lesnar is going to go away for quite some time, but it would be nice for Cody to get back on track and actually start finishing the story. Where that leads, I don't really know, but I'm excited to see what's happening with Cody Rhodes next. Next up, we had the Slim Jim Battle Royal. Now, a lot of the contenders in this match were already announced ahead of time, but quite a few of them were already in the ring when they came back from a commercial break. So there was the likes of Riddle, Imperium, so Ludwig, Giovanni, Cameron Grimes, Grayson Waller. There was quite a few people in there. AJ Styles was in there, he got an entrance. LA Knight got a huge pop from the crowd, and everyone was really excited. Everyone's in the ring, and before the match actually starts, we hear from MVP. Now, MVP is standing in the entrance ramp, and he's like, hold on. Like, you guys have 24 people here. You need to have 25 for this Battle Royal. And who comes out from behind the curtain? Omos. So Omos is the 25th man in this match. Now, this match is solely based around trying to get Omos out of the match. Now, everyone's obviously trying to work together to beat down Omos. Omos is throwing people outside of the ring, but everyone kind of ends up working together throughout the match to actually end up getting rid of Omos. Now, towards the end of the match, people are getting thrown out left and right, and it's the last 4 people I remember from being in the Battle Royal was Sheamus, AJ Styles, Grayson Waller, and LA Knight, which is a really good 4 lineup. All of them are actually, funnily enough, from SmackDown as well too. Now, it was Sheamus and LA Knight that were both in the ring at the very end. This obviously goes back to their interaction with Adam Pearce. I kind of had a feeling those would be the last 2 men in the match. But this was a really good match. I'm so excited because LA Knight won the Slim Jim Battle Royal, which this match was kind of made for him anyway. I was really excited that he won the match. I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go with LA Knight next. Now, it's rumoured heavily that he will be inserted in not the triple threat, it'll become a triple threat. It's rumoured that he'll be inserted in the SmackDown United States title match next week, which has Austin Theory defending the title against Santos Escobar. It'll be cool to see if he gets inserted in that, but to be honest, I feel like they need to just strap some gold to him and send him to the moon, because he is a huge megastar that can do a lot for the mid-card, and whenever you want to move him up to the main event, he can definitely do a lot for the main event status as well too. Next up, we had Gunther defending his Intercontinental Championship against Drew McIntyre. Now, if Gunther was to not retain during this match, he would not continue to becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of WWE and would not beat Honky Tonk Man's record. Now, I'm just going to keep this very short and sweet. The match didn't go on for as long as I was expecting. I expected a little bit more, but they still put on a hell of a performance for the time that they were given. Now, I feel like the match kind of got cut a little bit short because there was also quite a lot to fit in further in the card. It was a good match, very hard hitting, as Big E would say, it's big meaty men slapping their meat. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and Gunther retained, which I was super stoked about because I feel like Gunther is really doing a lot for that Intercontinental Championship, and I feel like if he was going to be dethroned, he would definitely get moved up to the main event level because he's proven himself time and time again. I know I say this every week when I do the Raw recaps, but I'm not lying when I say it. The man is main event talent. I'd like to see him in the ring with the likes of Seth Rollins. I'd like to see him with Damian Priest. I'd love to see him with Roman Reigns eventually. I guess we just have to wait and see how that goes. Where Drew McIntyre goes from here, I'm not too sure. Whether he gets frustrated and turns heel and just starts going on a massive tirade, I'm not too sure, but it was a really, really good match, very entertaining. As I said before, I feel like it got cut a little bit shorter, but obviously there's a lot to get in on this card, so it does make sense that there are a few tweaks in terms of timing, but it was a really good match. Gunther came away with the win, and he will go on to hopefully beat Honky Tonk Man's record for the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship. Next up, we had the match between Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Now, this was an MMA rules match. It was made very known at the beginning by the referee that this will not be a WWE sanctioned match and that they will be following MMA rules. So the ring ropes don't count, grabbing the ropes don't count, all of that kind of doesn't count. I don't think countouts were involved as well too. The only way to make your person to win was to either be submitted, knocked out, tap out kind of thing, so very reminiscent of MMA. I'm in two minds about this match. Now, for somebody who, if you don't watch MMA, you would find this match very boring. It's very methodical, very thought out, very slower in pace compared to a wrestling match. But if you are an MMA fan, you would appreciate the nod that is to MMA within this match. I'm very much in the middle. I don't watch a lot of UFC myself. I hear about it from my partner. He's very into UFC. I'm more of like a wrestling fan, so I kind of sat very much in the middle in this match. Now, I feel like this match was very rushed in terms of getting the match together so they could actually perform at SummerSlam, because it is heavily rumoured that Ronda Rousey will be leaving after SummerSlam. And that was her last match within WWE. So it's been rumoured that they had thrown this feud together and Shayna quickly was turning on Ronda. It was meant to be a little bit more planned out, but we end up having this match. As I say, I'm not a MMA lover and I'm a wrestling lover, so I kind of was in two minds about this. It kind of felt like the match was, I don't know, just... I can't really comment on it too much, and I don't want to try and comment on it because I feel like I would do it a big disservice because I don't appreciate and love MMA as much as somebody who does. But I feel like the match kind of, it did what it needed to do. I felt like they leaned in a little bit too much to the MMA style. The crowd was not like popping for this at all. There was no sound from the crowd, and maybe that was just on my end. I couldn't pick up on it, but as far as I'm aware, there was not much of a reception from the crowd coming from this. It kind of felt like a filler match. Shayna Baszler did end up having Ronda Rousey, I think she passed out or something, so Shayna Baszler ended up winning this match, which regardless of if this was a wrestling match or an MMA match, I was super excited that Shayna came away with the win. Hopefully Shayna can move on to bigger and better things and actually start to gain that credibility on the main roster that she lost when she moved up from NXT. As I said, I kind of feel like this match was a filler match. Now, I understand why they did it. They wanted to give Ronda a really good match before she left, but, and this is a very unpopular, but I feel like the match between Becky and Trish really should have been on the card instead of the match between Ronda and Shayna, purely just based on a storyline basis. The match between Trish and Becky has so much more story to it, and actually, I don't know, it deserved a place on the card. Now, I know they're probably going to be doing it at Payback, and that's fine, but for me, this match didn't really hit the way it meant to. Shifting gears, we then moved on to the match between Finn Balor challenging Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this was the match that I was looking forward to the most on the card. We'd said this on the podcast, and I heavily agree with Reese when we say this, but out of all of the matches on the card, apart from Roman and Jay, this match had a lot more intrigue, a lot more storyline going into it, and actually deserved a place on the card. Now, Finn Balor comes out first, and you can see that he's not sporting any demon gear, any of that. He has the outline from where his shoulder injury was 7 years ago with the word 7, which was quite a cool way to try and get in Seth Rollins' head. But Seth Rollins is the king of trolling, and you definitely don't want to get in that man's head, because what does this man do? This man comes out sporting the same ring vest that he wore in the match 7 years ago with like his new gear. So it's like the old Seth and the new Seth. And as soon as I saw that, I thought to myself, man, you really don't want to mess with Seth Rollins, because he's the king of trolling. He's done it to Roman, he's done it to Cody, he's done it to Riddle. Fantastic. I loved it. I popped so hard when I saw the ring vest, because it was the old like architect style ring vest. Anyway, I'm talking about it too much. This was a really good match. It was very back and forth pacing. There was that infamous buckle bomb spot and obviously the infamous barricade spot from the match 7 years ago as well too. Seth Rollins is getting a lot of offense in, and then Finn Balor kind of just flips into that next gear and just turns the match around and really has everybody thinking it's going to be Finn's match to win. Then we end up seeing that Damian Priest is coming down to the ring, potentially teasing a cash-in. And I was like, nah, not like this. And then the rest of Judgment Day ends up coming out to the ring, which includes Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. Now, they're obviously there to support Finn, making sure that Finn does come away with the win in any way, shape, or form that they can help him. Now, I didn't pick up on this when I was watching it, but when I was in the live stream with G and Ross picked up on the fact that Damian Priest was like, take my briefcase and cash in so that you can win this. So that's obviously how much they wanted Finn Balor to win the match. Unfortunately, this does not end up working in their favour. There is a lot of chaos that goes on towards the tail end of this match. And unfortunately, Finn Balor falls unsuccessful to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ends up retaining in this match as well too, which I was excited that Seth retained. I felt like if storyline purpose went more towards Finn Balor winning, I would have been okay with that. But from this match, we're now starting to see that there is a lot more tension between Damian and Finn, because obviously Finn's now feeling like Damian doesn't trust him, and like the job didn't get done, and there's a lot more tension now going on between those two when it comes to the Judgment Day. So Seth Rollins is still the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm struggling to see where Finn Balor goes next in terms of when he's going to challenge next for a title. I really would like him to hold championship gold at some point in time. I do think that a Finn Balor title run is definitely overdue on the main roster. Whether that's with him leaving the Judgment Day, or if he gets exiled, or if Damian leaves, I guess we're just going to have to wait to see where things go. But this was a very entertaining match, and to be honest, it was probably my favourite match on the card. After the World Heavyweight Championship match, we then had the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. Now, this was Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair both challenging Asuka for the championship. So Charlotte Flair comes out to the ring first, sporting this really nice red gear. It looked incredible. Then Asuka came out second, which we were all kind of like, why is the champion coming out second? This kind of goes ahead and shows that there is no focal point in this match on Asuka. She is not focused on very much in the feud. It very much feels like it's between Charlotte and Bianca. Then Bianca came out last, and she's kind of sporting the same kind of colours of the C4 energy drink. Now she's sipping a C4 energy drink before she comes out. Anyway, match gets underway. The match is very regular at the beginning. It's kind of it's very similar to what we've seen in terms of their wrestling styles. Then there's a move in the match where Charlotte Flair tries to throw Bianca Belair off the top rope outside of the ring, but what ends up happening is Bianca Belair ends up hitting her knee on the ring steps on the way down and falls down to the ground. She's selling this move really well. We all felt really bad for her when we were watching it, because I genuinely thought she was injured. She was crying. She was selling it very well. Whole bunch of WWE medical come and grab her and start taking her out of the ring and taking her down the entrance ramp. Then she's obviously kind of realizing that if she decides to stop, she's actually going to end up losing the opportunity to win the title. So Charlotte and Asuka just continue their match. And then it gets to the point where Bianca Belair just kind of runs back into the ring when she can see that, I think, Asuka's about to get caught in like a figure 4, figure 8 lock kind of thing. And then she ends up getting back involved in the match. And at this point, I kind of felt like the match started to feel a bit clunky. I kind of felt like if Bianca is seriously injured, she shouldn't be continuing in the match. But then I kind of feel like my kindness had have been taken for weakness, because of the fact I was so sympathetic of the fact she could have actually been seriously injured, but clearly not. Clearly she's just selling the knee injury, and I felt bad for her for no reason. Anyway, as I say, match kind of feels clunky, just continues on. And then out of nowhere, Bianca Belair just wins the match. And we were all kind of just like, huh? Because Charlotte Flair didn't win at a SummerSlam, which that breaks the streak of Charlotte Flair not winning at a SummerSlam. And two, why you do Asuka dirty like that? She didn't get a chance to hold the title for very long. She actually only had it from Night of Champions to SummerSlam, didn't get to defend it at Money in the Bank. I felt really bad for Asuka, because I'm like, why do you keep giving this woman the championship if you're not actually going to do anything with her and give her that same level of credibility and energy that you gave her in NXT. Like, Asuka's main roster title runs have not been as long as her NXT ones, and that's very disappointing. So Bianca Belair ends up coming with the win. She looks very shocked, very surprised by the fact that she's won. Everybody's very shocked, very surprised. But then we end up hearing the music of Io Sky, and I literally started screaming, losing my mind. I was so freaking excited. Whether or not this was going to be a failed cash-in or not, I didn't care. Io Sky saved this match, in my opinion. So she runs down to the ring with Bayley, and she gives the briefcase. She's like, I'm cashing in, and it's made announced. It's like, Io Sky is cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase, and I'm literally losing my mind. I'm like, oh my god, are we about to have a new champion right now? And Bianca's knee is injured, so I was like, oh my gosh. So she sets her up for a moonsault. 1, 2, 3, and we have a new WWE Women's Champion in Io Sky. I screamed when she won. I was so incredibly happy for Io. She deserves this so much. If you've seen any of Io's work in NXT or Stardom or anywhere, you will know how great of a talent she is. I am so freaking excited for Io. Think of all of the awesome feuds and matches that we're going to have with her as a champion. Bayley hugs her in the ring. Dakota Kai comes and hugs her in the ring. Now, Dakota's not cleared to wrestle. It was said in the press conference that I watched afterwards. She's still a wee way off coming back, but she didn't want to miss this opportunity to reunite with Damage Control. To be honest, it's been a year since Damage Control has been formed and has been on the main roster, and I think with this angle that they're going with, I feel like with Io being the champion, I feel like this is the best way to go for it. I'm so excited for Io. I literally am losing my mind, but I feel so bad because I feel like Asuka deserves so much more. And we did actually realise that Bianca is the longest reigning women's champion and also the shortest reigning women's champion. So Bianca Belair's title reign that she had at SummerSlam this year lasted like 1 minute and 30 seconds before she got cashed in on. Nonetheless, I am so excited. I literally cannot contain my excitement. I am so excited for Io. Like, I've loved Io for a very long time, and I feel like she can really do some awesome things with this title. Now, Michael Cole did make a comment on commentary that really stuck with me, and it's like I think he said something along the lines of from the world of Stardom to the top of the world. So Io Sky is only going up from here, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Now, I would love to see Io Sky versus Asuka at WrestleMania. I feel like you could really get some longevity out of that feud, and they haven't really touched one-on-one in the ring since Io's been on the main roster, so that is definitely a feud I am looking forward to. Then we had the true main event of SummerSlam, which was Roman Reigns going up against Jey Uso. Now the WWE Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship is on the line, as well as the role of being the Tribal Chief is also on the line in this match. This match starts off very similar to we've seen from Roman and Jey in the past. Jey's trying to take advantage of the situation. Roman's kind of playing along with it. Then they start pulling out tables and chairs, and there's a few spots where a lot of tables and chairs are getting involved. Jey's hitting Roman with chairs. There's a spot where there's like a whole bunch of chairs in the middle of the ring, and Jey ends up getting slammed into them by Roman. Then they end up making their way outside into the crowd, start brawling, and Solo comes in and starts attacking on Jey and ends up power slamming Jey into a table that is set up outside of the crowd. Jey ends up getting brought back into the ring by Solo, and then there's a moment where Solo tries to hit a Samoan spike on Jey, but then Roman is trying to like set up for a spear, so Solo's ready to hit Jey with a Samoan spike, and then Roman's going to hit him with a spear. But what ends up happening is on the return back from the ropes where he's about to hit him with the spear, Jey ends up running away and Roman ends up hitting Solo with a spear. So we're starting to see the downfall of the relationship between Roman and Solo, because that wasn't supposed to happen. And then they end up getting outside of the ring. There's a moment where like it looks like there's a disagreement between Solo and Roman. They're kind of like, what's going on? And then what ends up happening is it looks like Jey's getting set up to go onto a table, but then Solo ends up getting put on that table, and Jay ends up putting Solo through the table, which I found very interesting. And just like that, Roman has been put back into the ring to be pinned by Jay. So Jay gets to that 1, 2, 3, and someone grabs Jay's legs and pulls him outside of the ring. Now, it's clearly not Paul, it's clearly not Roman, and it's clearly not Solo. So we're like, who is this? What's going on? And he's in a black hood, and he's covered up, and the crowd's getting real confused as to what's going on. And then he unmasks himself. Tell me why Jimmy Uso has now turned heel on Jay. Like, what is going on? What is going on? I don't understand. I don't get it. As far as I was aware, it kind of felt like they were on the same page and they were going to be moving forward from the bloodline. But it clearly looks like Jimmy has turned on Jay, and I don't know what's going on. And then after that, Jay is kind of made into a position where he is not obviously able to win the match. Jimmy, I think, ends up hitting him with a super kick, gets thrown back in the ring, and ends up getting that 1, 2, 3 by Roman. So Roman ends up retaining the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship and ends up still remaining as the Tribal Chief. Now, this raises a lot of questions in terms of where does Jimmy's alliance sit? What's going to happen with Jay? What's going to happen with Solo? There are so many unanswered questions here. Now, I do remember in an interview, I think Errol Hawani did it with the Usos before Money in the Bank, that they did say that if the opportunity presented itself, that they do want to feud with each other. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel because I'm kind of like, what's going on? But maybe Reese could give you a full rundown on what's actually going on with the bloodline because he's very into it. But yes, that is the SummerSlam recap for 2023. All in all, I do think there were a lot of good spots in the premium live event. I just kind of feel at times it either dragged or matches for me just didn't feel like they really needed to be on the card. They didn't have much of an emphasis in, oh, you really need to kind of pay attention to this. I just kind of feel like maybe after the run of really good premium live events that we have been having from Triple H, I kind of feel like maybe this one was a little bit of a stinker, but that's just my opinion. I'm really hoping that the next premium live event, which is Payback in September, is going to be much better. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below about SummerSlam. Let me know your thoughts if you got any of your predictions right. Let me know what you think about the outcome of the bloodline, what you think is going to happen with the Judgment Day moving forward, because it's all very interesting. And I think a lot's going to start unfolding in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, if you guys liked the video, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel because that helps us out a lot. Helps pushes our videos out to the algorithm so that we can find more wrestling fans like you guys to share our passion for wrestling for. Please make sure that you go ahead and follow the YouTube channel. Make sure you also go in the description and check out all of our links for all of our personal social medias. They will be down there. There will be a video dropping, I think it's tomorrow, for the Cody Rhodes documentary. I watched it a couple of days ago and did a recap on it, so that should be coming up on the channel soon, and then we'll be getting back into our weekly recaps next week of WWE programming, as well as Impact, and I think there's also a Dynamite for AEW review going to be dropping next week too, as well as a podcast. But if you want to keep up to date with whenever we've dropped new videos as well too, please make sure you also go ahead and follow the Outcasted Twitter and the Instagram. That's where we normally post a lot of our updates, as well as our TikTok, where we post a lot of our short form videos, just little clips from the podcast. But yeah, if you guys like what we're doing, please make sure you go ahead and support us on our journey, because we really love the support that you are giving us during our journey. It obviously means the world to us. It means that we can keep doing what we're doing. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.